Welcome Wildcats to a special edition of Wildcat TV on Comcast 15 and ATTU Verse 99.
Today, we will be looking in depth on a subject that is often overlooked in our community.
Poverty is something every community struggles with, Blue Springs being no exception.
In this episode, we will be featuring surprising stories and interviews with high-ranking officials in Blue Springs.
To get it all started off, we go to our reporter Jared Hinton with an exclusive interview with District Superintendent Dr. Kinner and an overview on the issue.
Poverty is a global issue that impacts millions each year. It affects every city in every country, including Kansas City. In 2009, 21.7% of the population had incomes below the poverty level. Of the men living in poverty, 31.8% of them were under the age of 5. As for the women, 40.2% of them were 5 years old. Overall, there were 25.1% of children in Kansas City living in poverty. But this was all in 2009, and the numbers are constantly rising.
Children living in poverty is not only an issue in Kansas City, it also affects kids right here in our own backyard.
According to the Blue Springs School District, 37% of its students are considered to be living in poverty. This issue often has a direct impact on students' education. I got the chance to sit down with Superintendent of Schools here in Blue Springs, Dr. Paul Kinder, and he told me how he thinks poverty affects education.
Well, I think right now, if you look around where we are nationally, that poverty has a huge impact on education. Most of the districts in this country, and Missouri is not an exception to that have high poverty, high free reduced lunch count, really struggle with the educational environment that they provide, the academic environment they provide for their students. So poverty is an issue that until we get a handle on that, we're always going to be strapped with that as public education or public educators, that we're not doing our job because, we're not educating kids, when in fact, the majority of the kids we're talking about are kids that come to school with a lot of needs other than just education.
Dr. Kinder also told me about some of the services the district provides to students who are considered to be in poverty.
Well, some of the basic services, we have our free and reduced lunch program and our breakfast program right now. We have 37% of our students in Blue Springs right now qualify for that. To give you an example, when I took over as superintendent back in 2000, we had about 11% free and reduced lunch count. So we've more than tripled that in the last 14 years. One of the things we started a few years ago, which has been a huge help for us, is we call it the Back Snack program. And we send now over 700 backpacks home on a Friday that have food in it so students can eat over the weekend. There was some national data that was out about 4 years ago that said that 38% of all school-age children get their only meals at school. And so when school is not in session, like the weekend or like the summer, there's some problems there for those kids getting fed. We also started a summer feeding program here 2 summers ago, and last year we served over 20,000 meals in our summer feeding program. And again, just trying to address those issues and trying to give students in general, but even adults can come in for the summer feeding program, but students in general, at least 2 solid meals a day so that they are more apt to be ready for the educational environment when they're there then.
Lastly, Dr. Kinder told me what we as students can do to help.
I think as students, especially at the high school level, I know that both the student senates at both high schools have been involved in raising money for Community Service League or for other nonprofit organizations that really work in that area. I think that's still something to do. I think that's a good service project for all of our high school students, because right in our own high schools here we have kids who struggle.
Reporting for Wildcat TV, I'm Jared Hinton.
We're now joined by Jared Hinton in the studio. Now, Jared, in your research, what did you find to be the biggest issue of poverty within our area?
Well, I found that most of the people that are affected by this issue aren't the grown-ups, but the children. A lot of people under the age of 5 were the most affected by this. A study conducted in 2009 is nearly 25% of the people that are affected are under the age of 5. So,
wow. Well, thank you again for that story, Jared. When we return, we'll have an interview with our mayor, as well as a story about how local hotels relate to the issue of poverty. But first, a word from our sponsors.
Hey Wildcats, Matt Mitchell, the owner down at Culver's, your favorite restaurant. Just talking about some of our desserts today. We've got a brownie overload frozen custard cake here. We have other flavors as well, but when you got that special occasion, one of the best things you can get, whether it's a birthday, anniversary, or heck, just spring break. But we want to tell you about the best deal in our frozen custard lineup here at Culver's. These awesome pints. There's mint Oreo, butter pecan, chocolate covered strawberry. There's all kinds of different flavors. They change all the time. Come in and get your favorite one. But the best value in all of Culver's, 4 of these pints of custard for just $7.99. That's right, $7.99 for 4 pints of custard.
Welcome back. When we go out of town on vacation, it's typical for us to stay in a hotel. It provides a temporary shelter. However, a hotel is what many of our age call home. With more on the story, we go to reporter Will Hampshire.
For most people, when they hear the word poverty, they think of someone standing at the end of an exit ramp asking for money. Well, sometimes that's not the case. Some are just going through a hard time and they have to live in transitional houses, maybe with a friend or other family members, or sometimes even in a hotel, like the ones behind me here off I-70.
One of our very own teachers here at a high school found a need to help out with people with this challenge. I asked Mr. Bradner about how he got started.
Yeah, we got started because we heard about students that lived at the hotels, and we wanted to find a way to help. So we asked our church if there was something they could do, and we found out that they have a program called Backsnack, where they fill up backpacks full of food for the weekend for the kids that maybe don't have food at home. There's a term called food challenged, and that means that they don't have enough food, and so it's tough to be a student if you don't have enough food. There's a direct correlation between poverty and low test scores, in that if your parents are struggling just to meet needs, you're living in a hotel room, or you're homeless living in a car, school's not going to be your #1 priority. One of the elementaries asked us if we could tutor some of the kids that lived at the hotel. So that's how we got involved with the people at the hotel. As we started tutoring the kids, we found families that were in need and needed help, and needed a way to get to the other resources that are here in Blue Springs. So we work right with Community Service League. When you guys collected canned goods last fall, those canned goods went to community service. Blue Springs graduate runs Mercy Ministries with Gateway Church. They can help people with the application process, filling out resumes. Sometimes they can even help with rent if somebody is behind and needs some financial help.
Mr. Bradner has helped out several students in our district over time, but one of his coolest experiences all started with a Facebook post.
One of the things I did last year was I went on Facebook and I asked if anybody had bicycles. And so one of the teachers here actually, they had 3 bicycles their kids had outgrown, and so they donated them to me, and I took them to the hotel and I gave them to 3 kids who didn't have bicycles. It was a beautiful spring day. I think it was even spring break. And so every time I went past the hotel and I saw a kid riding a bike, I know that they get joy out of that. You know, you're making their life a little bit better. You know, as kids we all had bikes and we enjoyed it, and so like there, I got to help somebody give a bike to a kid, and then I get to see the kid enjoy the bike. So, you know, that would be one small way.
That story just really shows that anyone can help out with the issue. If you or your family would like to help, you can contact Mr. Bradner. For Wildcat TV, I'm Will Hampshire.
So thanks for that story, Will. It was very interesting. So I'm sure it had to be really cool hearing all those stories Mr. Bradner had to say about giving those bikes to the kids in the hotels.
Yeah, it really showed that, you know, it's a simple thing like a Facebook message can really, you know, someone could help out with, you know, this issue. I mean, as he explained it, you know, seeing the kids riding bikes and bringing a smile to your face, I mean, it makes me want to really help out, and it really shows that you could do anything to help.
Definitely. Well, thanks for joining us in the studio, Will.
No problem.
There are many students in our own schools that might need a little support from time to time, but there are resources to help. Reporter Shelby Sturthman sat down with a very important person in our school you might not be aware of who helps students every day.
Hi, I'm here in the counseling office, and many of you don't know, but we have our very own social worker, Miss Dwyla Funk. I got a chance to sit down with her and talk about what she does and how she helps students in need.
Well, I work with students. They can be referred to me for a variety of reasons, but sometimes it can be kids that maybe are struggling with, it could be a homeless situation, family lost their home. It could be that they were kicked out. And kids that or just financially things have kind of plummeted for them. Mostly what I do, besides getting the families in contact with resources in the community as needed, I do a lot just working with the students, talking with them. I do different support groups to give them a place to talk, to share, you know, where they can feel safe. Because a lot of times they may not be getting help anywhere else, and they just need to know that they're not alone. And with kids here, there's probably a lot of kids, more than what you'd realize, that are struggling. You would never tell by how they look or anything, because it could happen to any of us. I mean, we're all in the same boat. So how could you help or reach out or anything is, I think we just need to be empathetic with them, with all of us. I mean, because you never know what anybody's dealing with at any given time. And so we just need to be able to be there and to listen and to be a friend and to reach out. I have kids that'll refer kids to me. My office is down here in the counseling office. I meet with kids for life issues, so it could be anything. But if you were concerned about someone, I mean, talk with them, and absolutely you could always refer them to me.
So Shelby, what I thought was great about what Ms. Funk said was that there are ways for individual students to help out their other classmates.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you just really listen to your friends and maybe you refer them to Ms. Funk if they're in a tough time, it can really help them a lot too.
Well, thanks for being here, Shelby. Really appreciate it.
Concerning these types of issues, almost no one is better informed than those who serve in public office. So recently I sat down with the mayor of Blue Springs in a special interview. Take a look. There, unfortunately, as there is in every city and every community, is this unfortunate issue of poverty. As our local mayor, what kind of things do you do in order to combat that on our local area and our local scale?
I think no community is immune from having people that are in need. It's probably more pronounced in other cities. A lot of time people look at cities like Blue Springs and Lee Summit and think that we are affluent communities. There's some affluencies here, I'm sure. But we have people that are in need, and people that were affluent yesterday might not be today with the times that we have. I try to work with organizations that help people. Matter of fact, just last night I was at an open house at the Blue Springs Community Services League. They have a new director now that is very engaged in the community, got me involved in doing some things prior to her appointment as executive director with a retirement. And people in Blue Springs respond. You know, I think it comes down to neighbors helping neighbors. Then it's more on a personal basis, you know, than trying to feed it from a higher level.
How do you think we can best go around in the community and get poverty to the lowest level that we have seen in this community? And not only that, but how do you think elementary through high school students can do that? Because often we're told, like, wait till you're an adult, but most of us don't want to wait.
You teach them the values of reaching back, pulling somebody along with you. So there's no question that you engage them from a young level, but it's not necessarily the school's responsibility to do that. The school can be of help, but it's really the family's responsibility to teach your children. And you start to get part of that education in churches. Churches are engaged. Matter of fact, I've been so impressed that I have had 2 or 3 churches come to me and ask, how can I help?
Wildcat TV would like to take time to thank Mayor Ross for his service to the community and working to alleviate this issue with a full heart.
We're going to take another break, but when we come back, we'll be looking at 2 organizations that are really doing something about the poverty in Kansas City area, and also look at some solutions that you can take part in. We'll be right back. Welcome back from the break.
There are many organizations that have responded to economic hardships, but in the Wildcat TV news team's research, the City Union mission really seems to stick out. Reporter Raven Lawrence recently visited their mission.
This is Raven Lawrence here. I'm in front of the City Union Mission, an organization that helps with the issue of poverty in the KC area. While here, I got the chance to converse with Dennis Ellis, a church relations specialist, to get more information on what the City Union Mission is.
The City Union Mission is an organization to help provide shelter and food and various other opportunities to help the public with the poor and the homeless. We have various ways of doing that. We have a website that's cityunionmission.org. You can always go there and look at the various opportunities to help. The goal of the City Union Mission thrift stores are actually multi-purposes. One is to help the community, and the other thing is also to help with our long-term recovery program. There's a lot of different ways that the community can be involved. Again, on our website we have some different ways that you can be involved. One that we find is very popular is to do drives or collections. You can donate financially. That's another way you can do that. You can do it through donating used cars, estates, those type of items. One of the ways that you as a community can help tackle or go towards the poverty is to be aware of those around you that need help. If you have availability, have them call the hotline for the homeless. As an individual, it's just making the community aware to be able to check out our website and see how they can get involved.
There's no doubt the City Union Mission is doing great things in the community to help out in Kansas City. For more ways to help, go to their website. This is Raven Lawrence reporting for Wildcat TV.
I'm now joined by our reporter Raven Lawrence. Now, it looks like City Union Mission is a pretty large organization. They help a lot of people.
Yes, they do. Actually, Dennis was telling me that they house up to 300 men. They house up to families and women, of course, in different buildings. They do a lot for the community.
That's awesome. If someone wanted to get involved, what would they have to do?
Yeah, they just go to www.cityunionmission.org. And they can donate, they can volunteer. Donating doesn't have to be just money, of course. It can be cars, estates, food, stuff like that.
Awesome. Thank you, Raven.
Of course.
Micah Ministries has helped many families around the Blue Springs and Kansas City area, and there's a group at our school that has volunteered numerous times with this organization. And it might surprise you who they are. Donovan James recently sat down with a few of the members of that team in our newsroom.
All right, I'm here with two members of the 2013 football team to talk about a great organization called Micah Ministries. Thank you guys for being here today.
Thank you.
All right. Well, for the people who may have never volunteered or have done anything like Micah Ministries, Gunnar, could you tell me how it was like to volunteer and what is Micah Ministries?
Well, Micah Ministries is an organization that goes into a lower income area, like inside Kansas City. They provide hot meals for families. They provide like a children's care type thing, clothing, anything they can do to help out a family, they're going to be able to do it. And so what we did as like a football team is every so often we'd get a group of guys to go together and we'd go down there and we would help out the organization itself by doing whatever means they wanted us to.
Darius, you was able to be close to the women, men, and children that went through the food line. You got to see like their struggles up close. Like, how has this affected you?
I think going to Micah Ministries, it really makes you more grateful and a lot more thankful for everything that you have. And sometimes lose sight of everything that we have, and it makes you, feel really blessed to have the opportunity to help those out.
As you see, it's not hard to step outside your comfort zone. Two members here of the football team, Darius Shepard and Gunnar Strickland, they did exactly that. Thank you guys for being here today. And contact Micah Ministries if you ever feel like doing anything like this. Reporting for Wildcat TV, Donovan James.
We have Donovan James back in the studio. Now, Donovan, thank you for that story. Now, Micah Ministries seems like a great place to volunteer at and fairly easy as well to get involved with.
Indeed it is. The two people I talked to in my last interview actually say that you can go online and find information about their shelters. You can go on micahministries.com, and also you can their shelter is downtown. You can go visit their shelter and ask them if you can volunteer.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Thank you again, Donovan.
Yes.
When looking at these issues in organizations, we hope you may ask the question, how can I help? Well, we've highlighted a couple of options in the Kansas City area. We also have some helping in our own community. Reporter Micah Nickway, along with several Wildcat TV staff, recently visited one in particular.
There are many things we can do in Blue Springs to help many families. One of those things are supporting local resource centers, and I am standing in front of one of them. Impact Family Resource Center is a food pantry that provides families in need with food. I got a chance to talk to the Family Impact Resource Center organizer, Kim Danley, to see what they can really do for the community in need.
That's how tight the families that come to us, it's because they're barely making it from paycheck to paycheck. And the senior citizens, we're allowing them maybe to get their medication. They have to make a choice. Am I going to have medicine or am I going to have food? Are we going to have water this month because I only have enough to pay the water bill? Or are they just going to eat ramen noodles, you know, for 3 weeks in a row? It's tough, and it's getting tougher, you know. And as we all know, we're in unprecedented times.
Now you might be asking yourself, what can I do to help? Well, you can help in local food drives, volunteering, or financial donations.
The Impact Family Resource Center heart is to be here and to also help emotionally, you know, with the kind word, with the hug, with the pat on the back, that you can do it and help them get through this time emotionally. And they will. And we believe, you know, that there's a reason for everything. And if you look into your heart and believe in your faith, you will come out on the other side better.
It's been about 15 years, I guess. And now we have bought a new building, so we're going to be moving again this summer because we've outgrown our space. And it's just, we have over 100 volunteers to make this place run.
When Wildcat TV visited Impact last week, we got the chance to unload a truck full of food. It only took a few minutes, but it was an incredible experience. I am standing in a gazebo outside of Impact Ministries. Right now it is empty, but tomorrow it will be filled with families braving the cold in need of help. The question is, will you be there to help them? Reporting for Wildcat TV, this is Micah Nikway.
I'm joined by Micah Nikway. Now, Micah, thank you again for that segment. That was very great and inspiring. How did it feel to take just a couple of minutes out of your day to go and volunteer at the Impact Resource Center?
I have to say that it's a great experience, and I really enjoyed doing it. The people up there, they're very kind and very helpful, and it was just a great ministry to be with.
Yeah, now, how can individual students get involved with the Impact Resource Center?
So one of the things you can do is you can do a financial donation, which we here at Wildcat TV will have them in Mr. Marble's room, which you can be able to donate to Impact Ministries, and then we'll send it to them, make sure they get it. Or another thing that you can do is you can spend your time at Impact Ministries. It's right down by a Baptist church on 15th Street. And just walk in, you sign up right here, and you can be able to get your community service hours and be able to help people.
Well, thanks for that, Micah. We're going to take another quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to have a final thought from one of our seniors.
Like no place on earth, Lunar Bowl offers pure, out-of-this-world fun and is completely smoke-free. From cosmic bowling to the newest and flashiest arcade in town, Lunar Bowl is loaded with great times. It also has the coolest lounge in the KC area, the Blue Moon, where on Friday nights after a Wildcat home football game, you and the family can watch a replay of the game on TV and enjoy some late-night food from their new menu. Sign up today for special offers and deals at lunarbowl.com. Lunar Bowl, completely family-friendly fun, located on Highway 7 North in Blue Springs.
About the issue of poverty today. One of our own seniors, Thomas Hines, has our final thought.
Thanks, Kaylee. First of all, I want to thank you all for joining us today for this important awareness. As this episode proves, poverty is an issue that is happening all around us every day, and it's something that we all need to be aware of. But it's more than just being aware of the issue. In order to truly make a difference, it takes everyone's support and effort to end this tragic problem. Something as simple as donating a canned good to Impact Family Resource Center right here in Blue Springs can make a huge difference. You might be thinking, though, that homeless people are just money beggars for drugs or alcohol, but that's not always the case. There are people and families out there that do need help for the right reasons. Don't think that you're powerless, because you're not. One simple donation, or even just a few volunteer hours, can make a huge impact on someone's life. You never know what can happen if every day one more person helps out. To find out more information on how you can help, you can visit communityaction.org, which offers numerous opportunities of different events around Missouri that you can be a part of to fight this heartbreaking matter. Thanks for joining us today, and remember, It takes everyone's effort to end this horrific issue that affects many people all over the country and even right here in Blue Springs.